Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got an amazing comeback story for you, one that really gets to the heart of conservation. And it all kicks off with one big question.
Now that's a huge question, right? But what if I told you the answer could be, well, a lot simpler than you might imagine? This is a story all about partnership, a few simple changes, and one really charming little bird.
So let's meet our hero. This is the Cirl bunting. It's a small, kind of elusive songbird, and trust me, its story of survival in Britain has been a real roller coaster. Okay, so before we get to the comeback, we've got to understand the fall. I mean, how did a bird that was once pretty common end up on the absolute brink of disappearing from Britain altogether? So what exactly is a Cirl bunting? Well, think sparrow-sized, and its name actually gives you a little clue to its personality. Cirl comes from an Italian verb that means to chirp. Cute, right? Now, you might confuse it with its more famous cousin, the yellowhammer. They look kind of similar, but the real tell, the dead giveaway, is the song. The Cirl bunting has this dry, almost insect-like rattle. The yellowhammer, on the other hand, well, birdwatchers say its song sounds like it's asking for a little bit of bread and no cheese. You can't unhear that. All right, so this is where the Cirl bunting story in Britain takes a really dramatic and, frankly, dangerous turn. You see, for more than 100 years after it was first spotted in Devon, this bird did great. It spread all across southern Britain. But then the 1970s hit, and something went terribly wrong. The population just plummeted, a total freefall, hitting rock bottom in 1989. And when I say rock bottom, I mean it. By 1989, there were only 120, that's 120, breeding pairs left in all of Britain, all of them huddled together in one tiny corner of South Devon. So what on earth happened? Well, it was kind of a perfect storm, and the main driver was changes in modern farming. The birds lost everything they needed all at once. The weedy fields they relied on for winter seeds, gone. The grassy areas full of insects for their chicks in summer, vanished. And those thick, dense hedgerows they used for safe nests, ripped out. It was a triple whammy. But just when things looked absolutely hopeless, something amazing happened. An unlikely alliance was formed, a partnership that would change, well, everything. And this wasn't some top-down thing with a bunch of new rules. No, this was all about collaboration. The RSPB, led by a project officer named Kath Jeffs, teamed up directly with local farmers in Devon, the very people whose land these birds needed to survive. It wasn't about blaming anyone, it was about working together to find a solution. And the plan they came up with? It was just brilliantly simple. It wasn't complicated. They just focused on giving the birds back what they had lost. Step 1, leave some weedy barley fields over the winter for food. Step 2, let the edges of fields grow wild to create a buffet of insects. And step 3, let the hedgerows grow thick and tall, only trimming them every couple of years. That's it. So the big question, did it work? Oh, you bet it did. From that terrifyingly low number of just 120 pairs, the population has exploded to over 1,100 pairs today. I mean, what an incredible, incredible turnaround. Just look at this chart. The results are absolutely staggering. From 120 pairs clinging on for dear life to more than 1,100 pairs and counting. That's almost a tenfold increase. It's just such a powerful example of what can happen when people decide to work together on a focused goal. But wait, the story doesn't end there, because saving a species isn't just about boosting the numbers. As conservationists started reintroducing the birds to new places, like Cornwall, a really fascinating and unexpected challenge popped up. You see, when a population gets that small, it can create something called a cultural bottleneck. Think about it. Young birds learn their songs by listening to the adults around them. But if there are hardly any adults left to learn from, well, researchers started to wonder, would this new generation of birds even know how to sing the right song? And at first, it looked like they had a point. The first birds in the new Cornish population had a pretty limited song repertoire, and some of their calls were, well, a bit weird. But what's amazing is that over the next 8 years, as the population grew, the full, complex, species-typical song came back. The culture recovered.
And this is such a cool finding. It proves that it's not just the genetics of a species that can recover from a bottleneck. It's their culture too, their learned traditions. It just goes to show how resilient nature can be if we give it a fighting chance. Okay, so where do we go from here? What does the future look like for our little chirping friend, and what are the big takeaways from its amazing story?
Well, here's a fun fact for you, a little twist in the tale. The Cirl bunting story actually goes global. Turns out, a few of them were introduced to New Zealand back in the 1870s. And today, there's a small but stable population of a few thousand birds living happily on the South Island. It's like a little piece of Devon on the complete opposite side of the planet. And then there's the elephant in the room, climate change. Now, for many beloved UK birds, it's a massive threat. But for the Cirl bunting, which is naturally a more southern species, a warming climate might, and I stress might, actually be a bit of a silver lining. It could potentially allow them to expand their range north again, reclaiming old territory. But I think the biggest lesson here, the real takeaway, is about scale. Cirl buntings are real homebodies. They almost never travel more than a couple of kilometers from where they hatch. Their success story proves that you don't always need huge, sweeping national programs. Sometimes small, local, super targeted efforts can have an absolutely massive impact. The naturalist Stephen Moss put it perfectly. He said the Cirl bunting is a sign of hope. It's proof that with real effort, we can turn things around for our farmland species. It's more than just a bird. It's a symbol that what seems lost can be found again. So in the end, the Cirl bunting was saved by a simple plan and an incredible partnership. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? If we could save this one bird, which species could be next?